So the last podcast that we did, I realized I didn't have us introduce ourselves.
No way.
I don't think.
Nearly 2 years ago, by the way.
Yeah. At that time, you worked at Arc.
Mm-hmm.
Does Arc still exist?
That's a great question. Arc was
You don't know.
They recently announced an acquisition by Axos Bank.
As in they were acquired?
Arc was acquired.
Okay.
I think that they will continue. I actually really don't know. They will continue to operate as Arc under like a different bank charter, basically. So now they're like owned by Axos Bank, and they will continue to grow sort of like small business startup deposits.
Mm-hmm.
But it's no longer like Arc powered by Stripe banking as a service or whatever.
Okay.
It's like Arc powered by Axos Bank.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're not an independent company anymore, if it's my understanding. But I think like they're all going to stay working there pretty much, except for a select few.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's business as usual, just with like a new boss.
Yeah. I actually don't know, when you were at Arc, like what were you advertising as the advantage? Because that kind of confused me. Because I remember we talked about that and I was like,
that's a really great question.
What is actually the point?
I am going to take my Fifth Amendment right and not say anything further on that topic. I no longer work there.
Yeah.
Plenty of friends who do.
Yeah.
Congrats to the team for the acquisition. But I'm doing something else now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. So what do you do now?
I lead field marketing at Browserbase. Browserbase is a platform for agents to browse the web like a human.
Yeah.
That's like a bunch of fluffy words, but basically we are an API-based service that gives you a cloud browser and other like web data access for agents. So you can search the web, you can crawl it like normal fetching, and you can take action on the web.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So I think something that I wanted to talk about is that...
Well, what do you do?
Okay, yes. So I'm making Talkshi, which is an agentic marketplace. So it's like imagining a future where agents can go buy stuff because they're doing tasks that take a really, really long time. And so people don't know the vendors or maybe the people that they'll need ahead of time. And then agents will be able to transact.
So like both discover and transact.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're thinking for companies specifically.
Yes. So right now, I think like a lot of the initial action on agentic commerce has been like people have launched like the ability to buy apparel or like a lot of hard consumer goods.
Yeah, like sort of B2C type stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think people enjoy buying most like online shopping, like dresses or like jackets, that type of thing. And so I'm not sure if that will ever reach like a product market fit.
Something that our founder Paul has always said is that like we're not trying to replace the fun browsing.
Yeah.
We're trying to like automate the boring, crappy browsing, like logging into a portal and looking at a cell, taking the information and putting it in a different cell on another website or web app. Like that's the same with kind of the buying. Like you're thinking like going to Uline and repurchasing 20,000 napkins because we're like at the time in our inventory where like we're going to need to reorder the napkins, basically, something like that.
Yeah, I could see that being like, oh, you're doing some business service where you're like restocking. So a lot of the biggest storefronts will have, is that going to balance?
I think so. I tested it earlier.
Okay.
Hold on to it maybe.
Like Walmart will have like a robo buying service to restock all of their stores. Did I tell you about like this?
No, but that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Are you familiar with how like store inventory works today generally?
I am familiar that like most things are just monitored and then repurchased when they get low. I don't know the actual motion behind like how that purchasing happens.
So there's sort of like an internal inventory sort of like website, usually run either on local machines or like a very old shitty web app. And it's just like a bunch of spreadsheets and it's all by SKU or like inventory number. So like every item has a number.
Yeah.
SKU. And then there's like how many are in the store. But because of theft and like incorrect human inputs when it comes to checking people out, or like incorrect inputs of when you actually receive the goods, they essentially cross-check inventory with humans every single day, usually at the beginning of the shift or at the end of the shift in a store. And so like you could work at Target and you might be working inventory that day and you literally have to scan every single item on a shelf to essentially cross-reference, like, is the system reflecting the actual number of goods in the store? And then when you do inventory, you discover that stuff is in the wrong place. So then it gets like put on a cart to get put back in its like correct location.
Okay.
And so it requires like quite a significant amount of human input to verify what is actually in the store to tell you if you need to repurchase stuff. And then there's also a situation, especially in grocery, where they might have goods in the back, like on a pallet, but they actually haven't been put on a shelf. So if you think about like, there's a really common job, like right out of college, like working for alcoholic beverage distributors, Gallo, Anheuser-Busch. The job is like 22-year-olds essentially going to grocery stores and making sure that the stuff they're trying to sell is like on the shelves in the right place. Because oftentimes like they won't get restocked. So it's just like shit sitting in the back, not on the shelves. So like undiscoverable, not purchasable.
So Browserbase actually ties into this use case because you allow people to do wholesale purchasing?
You can.
Okay.
I think the bigger thing about Browserbase is like any single task that can be done in a web app, in a portal, on the internet, by a human, often manually, can probably be done by an agent with computer use models if built correctly. But I'm just really interested about, like, there are probably many efficiency gains in wholesale purchasing and like store inventory buying that can be both improved with agents and probably just like a better system in general.
Maybe I'm just too like software engineer brain, but I still don't understand why more vendors don't just move more stuff to API. Because I'm like, okay, and this probably is super relevant to Browserbase's business model specifically in that like, okay, how, because in my vision, I imagine like agents probably buy most stuff on API. Okay.
Well, yeah, I think agents can buy stuff with an API, but like, is the servicer, like whoever you're buying from, going to also build you an API? Which is another sort of browser-based ideal, which is like the DMV is not going to build an MCP. Because
the DMV is not profit incentivized.
No, and it's built for humans. And like, I think that people are going to keep building software for humans and maybe in tandem build software for agents. I could see people going the API direction, but I have a hard time imagining a future where software and like internet businesses are built entirely for agents. And not humans and agents. But you're like, everything can be an API. Why isn't it?
Well, because it's always an API under the hood. Like your browser, when it fills out the web form, does send an API somewhere, right? But then it's just like, okay, wouldn't it be more efficient for the agent to fill that thing out directly and interface with the vendor? Because like a lot of different types of vendors are already noticing that agents are their primary traffic, right? So if you imagine like you're a dev tool today, then an agent is like your primary format of So then like in the farther future, is that possible for more types of businesses? The DMV may never switch over, but you could imagine like, would that be easier for an agent to like buy via API? I wonder if you guys have thoughts on that.
I think that it probably is going to be easier for an agent to buy via API. That's definitely realistic to believe, but I think like one of the core sort of stances of our company, and also that I'd certainly agree with, which is that like humans need some level of like control over what is happening to feel comfortable. And something that's like entirely API based, like fully headless, there is no front end to observe, is very scary. And I think it'll take a very, 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 very long time to like completely shift the paradigm of how people interact with stuff, buying stuff, looking at stuff, observing stuff. Like people are very attached to how things work. And like obviously dev tools are built and often optimized for agent activity. Like I don't necessarily think that McMaster Carr, which is like one of the largest sort of industrial parts manufacturers and wholesalers in the world, is optimized for agents today. Like they run their website like fully on IBM mainframes, and it's like, it's designed to be like the fastest website ever. And they have, hundreds years old relationships with people in automotive and manufacturing.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know.
So I think a good like comparison is that, okay, if the year is 1994, you can operate your business with no website.
Right.
Okay. But then eventually, like when discovery moves to websites, you kind of need to have a website. Otherwise you're going to lose business.
That's fair.
Right. And so like, I don't think this has happened like yet,
Yeah.
but then at a certain point, I'm imagining like if an agent can't like try out your service, then like it thinks that it's like not as good, you know? And I don't know what the exact like product shape for, like I'm imagining it being like paid trial where an agent like tries out your thing. I don't know exactly what shape that is because I've used a bit of like stablecoin payment and stuff, and I think it's super jank and bad. But like, I would imagine that if an agent doesn't like your service, then you'll eventually like decline in rank.
Well, are you familiar with like AEO, which is essentially just SEO, but now SEO is like a discoverable paradigm for agents? It's the same thing. Like,
but agents do have much longer search phrases, so I do think it's slightly different.
That makes sense. Like the search phrases are more robust, so then you have to like kind of pad the content further.
The keyword selection is different.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm not working on it. I just know that it's like a big thing that we're focused on.
Yeah.
We're actually kind of crushing at it. Except today somebody posted on Twitter like AEO at Bricky what by the way, and it was like us ranked second behind somebody else, and I was just like,
who is the other company?
I'm not saying. Absolutely not. But Swix posted it on his alt Twitter and was like, by the way, Erika. And I was like, why are you posting this? You can just text this to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like it's kind of the same way. Like you have your service, if you want it to be discoverable by agents, you then have to sort of optimize it to be discovered in the first place. But again, it's like if the software service, like a dev tool is sort of created to be entirely sort of API based to begin with. Obviously, maybe the observability part, if there's like a dashboard, is built for humans.
Yeah.
But like it translates to the agent experience really well. But I'm thinking about like a front end, like booking service, like a Vagaro or a like
booking service to book what, like travel?
To book like a fitness class or a hair appointment. Like that's like really that's an interface made for a person.
Yes.
Selectors, a calendar view, and agents can do all those things. But like, are agents going to like that experience? Are they going to prefer them in the paid trial if the experience was optimized for a person? And so then it's like, do they have to have two? Should you have two versions of your product? And is that why things should go to the API base version?
I'm like, I think most consumer things, people only do stuff if they want. So like if people enjoy getting their hair done, then maybe they like will always enjoy like picking that out.
I guess.
But then one would easily imagine that like, okay, if Walmart is doing like robo SKU purchasing and ordering, then like you'll get to a point where even your like gas station is like doing robo monitoring and purchasing of individual items.
That makes sense. I do see that.
Because maybe they like really don't like purchasing each individual thing. So then it's just a matter of like all of the in-between of.
Right.
Yeah. But there's also like, there's two axes. There's like, okay, there's the axes of I don't like purchasing the thing. But then there's also the axes of cost. And that's something I'm also like exploring. Because one would presume that like, if you're trying to buy like Haribo gummy bears and they're like 99 cents, then it's like it's like it's a lot of human time to like monitor and buy, while the amount of risk is like really low if you accidentally bought like way too many. But I'm imagining there's like also a large area of more expensive services that people also don't like buying that they could also try and like buy with agents.
Well, there's also like the cost on the other end, which is the cost of handling the buying, which is like labor is often the most expensive asset on any payroll or like any P&L. And so if someone is spending 5 hours a day focused on this, like that's kind of like, if you could reduce that time, that makes sense from like a cost saving perspective. And generally like in grocery and stores, like margins on that stuff are bad anyway. So like if you want to reduce COGS in another area, that does make sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued more about like the agent experience of it all. Like, because it's like, do the distributors, UNFI, Kihei, like the grocery distributors, Cisco, whatever, like, did they also have to then optimize their purchasing experience for an agent? Or should the agent use something like Browserbase, which is sort of like our whole core thesis, which is like, they will not reinvent the wheel for agents. We will give the agent the roads instead.
Yeah.
Like I sort of perceive the browser to be sort of a conduit for those things to start happening. Someone building like an agentic purchasing service kind of has to meet the option where it is today, which is like still in a web portal.
Yeah.
But also like a lot of distribution is over the phones, which I'm very intrigued by. I judged a hackathon like maybe 2 years ago where they were using like a voice agent with 11 Labs to do purchasing over the phone.
Okay.
Because you do your inventory and you look at your spreadsheet and then you have to call and ask for the parts.
Okay, I'm not sure if I've ever bought something over the phone.
Right, but you're not like a factory in Illinois.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that I'm super not familiar with the process.
Yeah, I really don't think I've bought many things over the phone. I actually bought something over the phone yesterday.
Okay.
I sent somebody a gift from a hospital gift shop to their hospital room. Sidebar, my friend Morgan was in a plane crash. Crazy. So glad she's okay.
Wait, she survived a plane crash?
She survived a plane crash, a seaplane. In fact, an 11-person seaplane in the Puget Sound in Seattle crashed into some rocks.
Oh, I actually have taken like a tourist seaplane in Seattle.
Dude, yeah.
And it dropped when it took off. Like it took off and then it did one of these.
Dude, yeah. They survived a seaplane crash, bottom of the Puget Sound. She's alive miraculously, and I sent her a gift, and I called the gift shop. They were like, okay, here's the stuffed animal and the balloon and the card.
Yeah.
And then I'll give your phone number to the accounting department. They'll call you in 2 hours. You'll give them your credit card info, and then I'll give her the gift. And that did happen to me literally yesterday.
Oh.
And it was
via
very
hand delivery.
Yes, via hand delivery.
Oh, okay, advanced.
It was very old school.
Yeah.
Truly. And like I called the accounting department because they hadn't called me, and he's like, sorry, I'm not the person that processes payments. So I had to wait for somebody else to call me. So from that perspective, I think we're really early.
Yeah. No, I think so. It's kind of like, so the popularization of websites may have been like beginning in the 90s, but then like you didn't actually need a website to do business until like 2001 or 2, you know, like you didn't.
And if you're the Harborview Medical Center gift shop, you still don't need a website.
Yeah.
They don't have one.
Yeah. The place that I get my haircut from like still requires you to phone call to like book an appointment.
Oh yeah, my boyfriend gets his haircut by this like really amazing Vietnamese lady named Paula in our neighborhood, and he absolutely has to call her. Doesn't even text. They have like a home phone in the salon.
Yeah. I think Artie in Japantown, they have like a mobile phone, but they just use it as a landline. It's just always plugged into
right. It's like at the office. Yeah.
So I'm trying to map all of these different like methodologies of modern day purchasing, and I'm like, okay, which things would you actually do way more business if you could just like interface them with agents better, you know?
I definitely think your instinct on like the B2B side is correct.
Okay, let me give you an example. So like I left my YC startup and I had to email a bunch of lawyers. I'm like, yo, can you look at this agreement that I'm like working on? And here's the interesting thing. Like most attorneys don't like say exactly what type of work they do. And they also have no more description. They will say like a general blurb, but then they don't say if they'll do like your thing. You have to just ask, right?
Like on their public facing information.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
Yes. And there's probably like a bunch of reasons for that. Maybe they want to take a specific type of work for a specific client or something. But like, I was like, if I send an email that just describes my situation to like a bunch of people, then like, I feel like they should be able to just like instantly be able to respond and like say if they would take a certain type of work or not, you know? Because they probably are just like, all right, is he like loaded and worth us as a client? And we'll do like some web search on who he is and we'll like read the paragraph.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. Well, it's like optimizing like a contact form on a website, like the get a demo sign up form. Like someone signs up on the Browserbase website to get a demo.
Yeah.
We do a bunch of enrichment right when they fill out the form to decide if they should get this booking link or a different booking link based on what they put in the form. And it sounds
Oh, like live? Like as they're filling it out?
pretty much.
No, I think I've seen that because I remember I filled out some form somewhere and it instantly gave me a Cal link.
Right. And like sometimes it won't.
Yeah.
It depends. And like every company does that. There are services that do it. We use Default. There's a company called Chili Piper that's been doing this for a really long time. Like it sounds like the lawyers are just like kind of low tech insofar that you inquire about business by sending them an email describing your service need.
Yeah.
But like could be solved by filling out a form that can do like some low level enrichment to decide what the use case or need is.
True. And I'm like, even the form can be optimized beyond that, in that like the form could just immediately lead to like if you answer like more questions, then I'll be able to handle your response or something like this. Because I'm like, if you're an attorney, like handling even like web form inputs, I feel like is kind of just a waste of your time, right?
Completely.
Yeah.
And to them, it's probably easier and more efficient to just get through their email inquiries at the end of the day.
Uh-huh.
Which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it's like fairly old school.
Mm-hmm.
But also like, depending on sort of how the firm works, like you can only take on so many clients based on sort of how the business works.
And that is the bottleneck.
Billable hours. Like you can only bill as many hours as there are in a day.
Yeah.
Realistically. If you're a 2-person shop, it's not that many hours.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at max like 120 a week.
Yeah.
Like they can't take every client.
So it doesn't actually end up mattering because inbound doesn't matter. It's actually like relationships with like your client who's going to bill you like 50,000 hours.
Correct.
Yeah.
And typically like those types of firms like grow through referrals.
Yeah.
Because it's like a client might have like a similar client that they would want to refer you.
Yeah.
I don't know, like we use a company called Crosby for some of our deal desk stuff.
I have some Crosby.
They have some billboards, like an AI, like sales contract.
Yeah.
Reviewer.
There's definitely some believers in the, lawyers will actually be available via API in the future. I think it's like, they're really AGI built.
The point of attorneys and the point of doctors is to offload risk into like a very specific type of role.
Yeah.
You can represent yourself in court.
Yeah.
But then you bear all of the risk for how it goes and turns out.
Yeah.
And it's like, sure, Claude can be your doctor, but you can't sue Claude for giving you bad medical advice. You know you can sue? A doctor and a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. I don't think a lawyer is going to be available via API, but I do think the difference when it comes to legal advice and how the law works is that the practice of law is entirely based on sort of like previously written information, and then how the written information can be interpreted to service like a particular desire or outcome. And like LLMs are really good at that. So it makes sense that they are like very helpful, especially when it comes to like really big law cases. Like paralegals and low-level associates will like read thousands of pages of cases to find sort of some similar previous ruling to support the outcome that they are seeking. And an LLM can do that way faster. So like that makes sense. But it's like
the buyer experience, I think, could be very dramatically improved.
I think that makes sense, but I don't know.
So it's just like a matter of, okay, are all attorneys basically forming like a shadow union in that they like are going to refuse to basically like offer to make their services more accessible and like easier to kind of interface with? Because like, if you imagine that like, before I would have to like go through referrals, email a shitload of attorneys, some respond, some don't, and then like go through way more emails. And like basically the process is extremely slow and time consuming to a format where like my agent can just almost instantly like help me with some task. Then like, it's hard to imagine the existing status quo being like the optimal way. It's only optimal for the lawyer.
Well, right. But for the lawyer, like you're not going to take a case that's not going to make you money.
Yeah.
You're not going to take a job that's not going to make you money. And so it's even the same with like injury attorneys, like something wrong, call Am Fong. Those types of those types of attorneys actually make all of their money through referring out business, which I learned only like a year or two ago.
Wait, they're doing most of their business from referral and not from the billboards.
Well, no, the business is from the billboards. So basically people will dial Am Fong and then the Am Fong office of attorney at law will take the best and biggest and most high payout cases, and then
they don't even take all of them.
they refer out the other cases to other injury attorneys. So there's like this huge sort of like secret underbelly of injury attorneys that aren't like the famous billboard ones, but like Hobbs Law and Ann Fong and the Texas Hammer refer out their business to other local
The people
firms.
who can't even afford to make like a rhyming billboard will have to like attach themselves.
Sure, kind of. But it's just like a really common sort of secret practice.
Yeah.
And the big firms will only take like the best cases. And so, but I think that's like common theme across sort of agentic commerce in general, which is like they will only adopt the API-based version of their product if it serves them financially, which is like for everybody. And so like, I don't know if it does always.
Yeah. So that's going to result in like when Stripe became popularized, a new class of internet merchants kind of arose that was like more optimized, or like your Shopify, that was more optimized for the buyer experience, right?
Yes.
And so like that results in there being like a new class of like service providers that provide like a different style of service, because I also can't imagine like a modern like attorney firm like shifting over to being like, yo, we're doing most of our business on API. Like I kind of can't imagine it.
No.
But I could imagine like a future business doing most of its business providing like legal service over API.
Something that we were talking about kind of before we started recording, which is like tax prep. Like, is it accounting? That to me feels more approachable than like lawyers.
I mean, Intuit stock is extremely down, so maybe people agree with you. The investors agree.
Well, they're a very big company.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that. But
about their stock being down, that seems like very mundane to talk about.
No, I think it's more like it's like sort of like a rote set of work. Like law is very interpretable and like quite nebulous, and some stuff is very the same, but other stuff isn't as standard. Like tax prep is the same. The forms are the same. They've been the same for forever.
Yeah.
So you just fill out the forms a new way every time. Like I totally can see that being a business that takes like a further API oriented approach. But again, similarly to law, like accountants have a certification because then they bear the risk of doing your shit wrong.
Yeah.
And so I just don't know.
Yeah.
Like I think there's like
TurboTax does bear the risk of like filing for you, but like there's no human in the loop there.
No, there's not.
Exactly.
And so it's kind of like what's like the agentic version of TurboTax? I'm sure they're working on it, which is
it's probably some small business tax filing this thing.
Taking form submissions and just doing it for you instead of like you manually inputting my income.
Yeah.
My itemized receipts.
Yeah, because for me it's super dumb. I like make a folder every year and I just call the folder like tax space the year. And then I'm just like, okay, I just need to take this info and then I drag and drop shit in.
Right. Which is
just like the agent could just go to this folder and then just like do this part.
All our computer use models.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like what they're best at.
So I view it as like the following lens. I don't know if this is like too abstract and high level of like the system, which is, you're familiar with Mercor and data labeling? Okay. So I imagine, and you're starting to see this, where like companies don't want to give up their data to the big labs. Okay. And instead they want to train their own model.
Yes.
Okay. If you take this to its logical extreme, which is that like all of the proprietary data that makes a specific service reliable and good is just like embedded in their own model, then you could imagine just providing that on API. Okay, like just like let's say you're mega CPA accountant corp, and you have like 100,000. Like, let's just take Intuit. Like, Intuit has so many different like filings that they probably have understandings of that regular people don't, and like ChatGPT / Claude or whatever model doesn't.
Like KPMG.
And so they are not going to sell their data to the labs to embed that into the big model, but they could provide that in their own model that they then directly interface with people via API or some means.
Totally. That like to me that seems like a very obvious sort of product direction.
Yes.
Like we've been like Paul, my boss, tweeted a week or two ago, like we should just train our own model. But if you really think we're not going to do that, publicly saying we're not doing that right now.
Yeah.
But like,
why not?
I think for a number of reasons, like customer data is customer data. And so like that is like a big reason. But if you think about it, like we are probably the like largest like aggregator owner of computer use data done by agents.
Really?
Ever.
Okay.
Yeah. And like with that information, we could probably really refine how computer use models work from like a post-training, fine-tuning perspective. And like every company ever with a specialty should in theory be able to do that themselves. Yeah. And so it would make sense for somebody like Intuit to be able to train their own sort of tax prep model locally, give it to TurboTax, and like make AI TurboTax without sort of offloading that data onto the labs. But it's like, are there enough researchers in the world to service this extreme? I don't know.
Are there enough resources to service
researchers, like AI researchers, people who are like good at doing that thing to build a bunch of local models for like Fortune 500?
So I'm like, I really think the answer here is yes, because like doing data filtering is like not crazy hard.
I believe it. I don't think it's that hard.
If you look at like the employee count of Mercor, it's like fairly low. If you look at like people in the labs are not hiring like massive labor farms to do like data labeling, this kind of thing. So like you can imagine it being like not crazy. And also like there are neo cloud and neo cloud kind of adjacent business models where like, for example, Fireworks is like one of the biggest open source model hosters, and like inference providers, they have like a one-click fine tune your own model kind of solution.
I think Basin has one also.
They all have this, like
Basin, Modal, Fireworks.
Exactly. So they all have this like upload just a JSON of just any of your data, and then we'll just get started. Like it's just like a one-click, like just upload it, and then we'll just kind of like start.
So crazy. My friend started a company called Brev a gazillion years ago in 2022.
Okay.
To do this, which is really
like
insane.
Fine-tuning. Okay.
And they got bought by NVIDIA in 2024.
Okay.
But I like keep thinking about their company, and I'm kind of like, damn.
So early.
They were so early.
Yeah.
And now they're
honestly,
like kind
it's
of like
confusing. I'm like, how do you fine-tuning before the popularization of LLMs? This is like, what?
It was essentially just like a GPU in a cloud.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like
an early neo cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I think they started their company like probably like around the release of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And I met them, I think, in like February of 2023.
Yeah.
And they sold their company in 2024. And now they lead like the developer experience team at NVIDIA. And so they like talk very publicly a lot about like local fine-tuning models, open source models, which is like, of the moment this week. Jensen Huang's like open source forever.
I mean, I definitely agree. I think Anthropic is playing some bullshit, but
yeah, I think there's like a lot of self-importance in general.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Like the Burning Man EA crowd is just like their whole brand is self-importance, and so it doesn't surprise me at all. I might get some haters.
Wait, what is the EA crowd? I don't know.
Effective altruists.
Oh, that phrase I've heard.
The SBF crowd.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of overlap with the stablecoin gang.
Yeah. I would say so.
Finance. Yes.
I don't know. Stablecoins are intriguing to me. I think that crypto makes sense from like a fastest way to like get agents to transact.
Yeah.
Because they do not kind of have the same like regulatory landscape as regular payment rails, anti-fraud rules, KYC, banking regulations, PCI. Like there's so many reasons why it's easier.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's better though.
No, it's actually so painful though.
Like, did you use like X402?
I've used everything. I've used MPP.
Okay, the Stripe one.
Yeah, well, I used Tempo. I also used Stripe via Link.
Okay.
And then I've also used like USDC.E with like just wallets and hashes or some shit. And then I've also used a couple of others.
Did you try Natural? I told you about it.
I couldn't figure out their onboarding. I know you like.
What? I loved the onboarding. What?
I know. I signed up my business into Natural, and then I had some sort of issue where I wasn't able to send immediately because I needed to like
verify.
Do something.
I signed up as an individual, which maybe that's why.
That's what I'm saying. Like I need to register some business thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so like I wasn't able to send immediately.
I signed up as an individual and I just like put in my fucking social security number because that's how banking works.
Yeah.
And I was able to send money right away. And I sent money to my coworker Madison. And I was like, check your text. I just sent you $1 with my Claude code, which was really awesome.
Wait, but she hadn't signed up for it yet.
No, I could just send her money and she could just like take her money.
Oh, so it just like made a wallet for her. It's just like unclaimed. And then, okay. I guess that makes sense. But basically, it's like generally pretty painful to like sign up for any of these services.
It's very early.
Yeah.
It's so early. If you had like if you have the fintech patience,
Yeah.
like I think it's still very much for the taking. I think the challenge for companies like Stripe and Adyen and like PayPal's not going to do this. Like they have a lot more at risk to.
I've heard of Adyen also. Are they big?
Dude, this is the craziest thing ever because Adyen is literally like a bigger company than Stripe. They are a payments company, ADYEN.
Huh.
Dude, crazy. They do POS systems.
Okay. So they're like a B2B.
Yeah, they're a B2B payments company just
they're like
Stripe.
a B2B2B.
They're a big ass company.
Yeah.
So funny. That is so crazy.
No, I'm like not
people,
familiar with
I've
like the
so
payment
say
space
this.
at all.
But like
believable.
But yeah, they just have like a lot more at risk to do it incorrectly and fuck it up. And so they won't ship something that's not ready. And so I think the benefit on the startup front is that they're able to move more quickly and sort of like uncover new rules.
Yeah.
I know Natural is hosting their wallets on Column, which is like a neobank.
The same as Mercury.
Or like a bank for fintech. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mercury is on Column Bank. They used to be on Choice Financial.
I didn't know that. When I signed up this year, they were already on.
Yeah, they moved over to Choice Financial, or they moved over from Choice Financial to Column Bank in 2024.
Okay.
Because there was fintech is because it's really
some ARC knowledge.
This is some ARC knowledge. It's really easy to get your shit rocked in fintech because there are a lot of rules and a lot of laws.
Yeah.
And so what happened with Choice Financial is that they were connected to Mercury via a banking as a service provider called Synapse, and there was like a big issue with deposits where basically like a bunch of people lost their money.
I heard this from like YC Gang.
Yeah.
Mercury was like, is it going to go under?
Yeah, it didn't. It was fine.
Yeah.
They switched over to Column. They did it in like record time, super fast. But like there is inherently a lot of risk when you are dealing with OTP, OPT, OPM, other people's money. I'm like, what is the fucking acronym? And like you don't want to put yourself in a sort of regulatory position where you could get into lots of trouble and lose a bunch of business. And so Stripe has Link. You can kind of like connect it via Cloud Code, but Stripe has always been really developer friendly.
Yeah.
What I haven't really yet seen is like agent freely running to buy stuff, except for people using like OpenClaw, which is interesting.
I think the overall amount of volume is still super low. Like X402 publishes that today it's like 25 million of like lifetime X402 actions. And I think it was invented like within the last year or so.
Yeah, I think
it's like super low.
Yes.
And so I'm like, I view it as like a bifurcation. If there's ever like a B2C on-ramp, then I feel like it would still have to be credit cards or something that's like easier. But then if it's like, if it's B2B, then I could imagine people adopting some arbitrary, like faster, lower fee thing, you know?
I mean, there's also like ACH domestic wire type, which is quite easily done via an API.
Are you familiar with what Mercury allows you to do account operations via CLI now?
No.
Because I actually thought that this integration, I actually don't know. I'm going to check, but I don't know if the Mercury CLI allows you to do ACHs. But I actually thought that that was like one of the easiest signups ever.
You
like,
signed up for Mercury via your CLI?
No, I already had a Mercury account.
Okay.
And then Mercury was like, we have a CLI now.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, great. In order for me to like give, for an example, like investor updates, or just for me to like categorize my own spend, I'm like, how much am I spending on AI? I don't know. AI, tell me how much I'm spending on AI. And then it just like looks at my vendor list.
Not including the tokens just used to perform this task. Here is your, yeah. That's funny.
So I'm like, because
otherwise, that's a big step, I feel like.
Yeah. Because otherwise I'm like, okay, I have to go into my like previous purchases, and then I'm just like copy pasting like 5 pages. I'm like paste. This is like dumb as hell. But then I was like with the CLI, it was like really, really easy. And I'm like, I could imagine something like that being a really easy way to send an ACH or something like that too.
Probably.
That would be probably free adjacent. I forget how much it costs to like send ACH, but it's
domestic wires on Mercury are free and ACHs are also free.
Yeah, I think domestic wires though, there's like a minimum amount and like it costs the bank like some cents.
Yeah, it's not free for the bank. They give it to you free as a service to hold your deposits.
Yes.
It's like a perk. Like wires at like Wells Fargo are like $30.
Okay, that's insane. But I think that the wires cost the bank, I want to say like, I don't know, like 8 cents or something. Like it costs the bank some amount of money to do this transaction.
Direct deposits are cheaper and free and just slower.
Yeah. So that's what I'm...
Yeah, it's just like how the money is moved. Different rails.
Because what I'm imagining is like, okay, if agentic payment is able to take off, then like developers are willing to take on like more of an on-ramp that is just like still like conceptually easy to do and like low fee and fast and easy, but like they're willing to do more than like B2C. B2C, I feel like it has to be like a couple clicks, you know?
Yeah, like you can't even buy. We were on Zoom the other day. We were like trying to buy stuff on ChatGPT. They like sunsetted the feature.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's not the business. It's not.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that like not a single vendor. I feel like if they made it more public and anybody could just like integrate into ChatGPT, I feel like some new kids would like figure out a way to like maximum monetize this like idea. Because they went to like some existing like banks or other like
and it's like you think about like TikTok and how TikTok Shop has grown. Like people are like finding a very specific niche and they're just making a shit ton of UGC content about their niche and listing this product on TikTok Shop and they're like printing.
Yeah.
And it's like the dumbest shit. Like a slipper that looks like a clownfish.
I bought a Drake mask on TikTok Shop.
Like the kind that you would rob a bank in?
Yeah.
Of Drake?
Like it just pulls over your face and it looks just like Drake.
That's horrible.
I know. I used it as a Halloween costume, but then it was really funny when I wore it for like 10 minutes, but then it got so hot inside the mask.
Well, yeah, because it's like a rubber mask on your face. That's crazy.
So then I cut some air holes on the sides, but
so he had gills.
Yeah, exactly.
That's insane. But yeah, so like I think that you could absolutely like AEO-ify a ChatGPT shop item and probably print. It would be like some sort of creative endeavor to do.
That's what I'm saying. Like if they actually made it public to just like, oh, anybody can just roll their own like ChatGPT shop, I feel like there would be people who like took
instead, basically how it works is like you'd have to buy it from like an Etsy shop or like a small number of brands who probably host their website on Shopify or something similar.
Yeah.
Which is just like, it's kind of offloading the sort of value from OpenAI, which is probably why they were like, we're getting rid of this. We're not really going to make anything on this. But they should absolutely like, seems like an easy endeavor.
Well, the incentive I think is like bad because, okay, if you are a shop like Etsy or Spanx, then people go to your website and then they buy like 1.5 items, you know? But if they buy via ChatGPT, then they're buying like 1.0 items. So then people are like, oh, I don't want to do it. Because it's like people are buying less stuff than if they just came to the website. And maybe 90% of people came to the website. And so then you lose. But if you're Joe Schmo, like 18-year-old, and you're doing zero business, then you're just maximally incentivized to take charge of the trend, right?
Right, which I think is also like one of the interesting things about TikTok Shop as a concept, which is that you just buy in the TikTok app and you don't go to their website, and it's still doing so well, and so many brands are like really forward for it, despite how if they were on the website, they'd buy 1.5 products. But like the sort of...
But these are like individuals, I guess.
Yeah, but like the volume capture of like impressions on TikTok is better than like trying to drive people to your website because they're going to keep scrolling on TikTok. So it's like the incentive is still good enough to like do the TikTok Shop videos and put it on there. So it's like, what would that experience be like for ChatGPT?
I think,
but it's like the paradigm that people primarily interact with AI is like back and forth conversation and not like consumption of content, which is the issue.
I think this is going to take shape for like every biz, which is like, okay, going back to some other examples, if you're an accountant and you have like an accounting firm, then you're not that incentivized to just offer API services. But if you're like a brand new accountant who's doing zero business, you're the only one on API.
That's kind of what you were saying. Like,
yeah.
in 1994 you didn't need a website to have a business, but then suddenly in 2004 the people with a website were doing better.
Yeah, and that was a new group.
And so there's probably going to be like the new group.
Yeah,
will probably start with this first. In some way. I still don't know what it's going to look like to take shape, because ultimately, like at the end of the day, if the customer you're servicing in the very end is a human, even if the human is like controlling or driving an agent, you have to sort of build for both. And I think that is going to be really confusing for both new businesses and incumbents to figure out, like, how do we prioritize? Do we roadmap them both equally?
So like the risk profile is probably important. So like, let's take the accounting example. Like, you're an accounting firm. There are arbitrary reasons why you do more business if you're just like going over email, or you just don't want to bother with like offering an API because it's not worth the overhead. But then if you're just one accountant who is like confident and like good, then you can offer just yourself over API services. I'm like, let's say for an accountant, if you fuck up someone's tax return, you cost them like 3x your amount of money that you would have made from being an accountant, and then you get sued for 3x. Like, that would be a system actually where you could afford to take quite a bit of risk, because then you only need to be correct like 75% of the time, presuming you're making like 100% margin on your dollars. Right? But then like, okay, that's probably not completely realistic. Maybe you would get sued for like 40x the amount that you would get paid from one person doing business with you. Then your risk profile adjusts to like 98% accuracy, right? And so if you just kind of like extrapolate that, there's a lot of extrapolation, but like if you just imagine this service being like, okay, if you're an AI and you can be 99% accurate, then like logically you could just be a person that actually gives legal stamp, and then it does make sense.
Which is basically like what the legal AIs do now.
But they're still not an API though, because I have looked at all of them. I looked at
like Harvey, Lagora.
I looked at like General Legal, Vector Legal. There's another one that one of my friends pointed me at called 1GC.
Oh, not GCAI, different?
Different.
Oh my God.
There's like a lot though, but none of them are just like shoot out request and then like get instantly responded to. I think it's still mostly email.
Yeah, there's like some takeaway and then give it back.
Exactly.
I don't know, but I think that's like, it comes down to like the risk profile also. Like,
legal probably has an even worse risk profile. Legal,
I just like wouldn't fucking touch that shit.
You're probably getting sued for like 1,000 or 10,000x.
Yeah, so, not worth it.
Yeah.
Just like, no. I don't know.
You need something that's like, okay, you have to have a service that's like kind of custom, or it's like people really hate buying it, or it's like the shit is so cheap, like the Haribo gummy bears in the gas station example. Or like you have some risk tolerance. There's like some areas on the curve though where it like does make a lot of sense, but it doesn't make sense for a lot of stuff also.
I almost feel like it's going to hit small businesses first, because they have just like generically lower. Well, I don't know. Because like
hit them as in they're going to be buyers, or they're going to be providers.
They're going to be providers of like a more tech forward approach, because they don't have sort of like the historical, maybe it's just new businesses, which I think is like kind of what's happening in startups. Startups are like getting very agent pilled. Yeah. Which makes sense. I just don't know. Yeah. It's really hard to say.
I think like from the early stage startups that I've talked to, it's like people are not down to just buy very expensive stuff over API.
Absolutely not.
But I could imagine them like just kind of like sampling services over API.
Yeah, like discoverable makes sense. There. I think there's like a PLG angle, like any product that's self-serve can be discovered via agent, via API, like that makes sense. Yeah. But anything that's like, well, also like if this does become the new paradigm, then like how like the software economy exists today would have to have like a very dramatic change, which today is salespeople over the phone, contracts, redlining, paid annual upfront, like 5 zillion margin, like all those things would have to shift dramatically in order to sort of service like the agent buying paradigm. Yeah. Both in price and how it's negotiated. Like people end up paying so much more for software because like a human being is basically telling them that's how much it costs. Yeah. Even though it literally doesn't cost that much. And so it's kind of like,
so the buyer, if the buyer like is really gunning for like the best possible experience, then you make the shift away basically. Because I'm imagining like, okay, to analogize the developer product experience just to the rest of the world again. But like one month, I remember we spent like $15,000 on Anthropic. Okay, but like it seems like still high trust because you're deciding per interaction, you like can sample a small amount and then keep going, right?
Sure.
And like I could imagine that for a large purchase, you like trying that out for a small amount and then you keep going if you like it, right?
Yeah, I think it just really depends on like the service and the tool.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are some things that require like so much setup and so much involvement to even get any value out of it. You can't really sample it.
That's true.
I think that can be like a misleading endeavor.
That's true because if you pay for one legal hour, it's like, oh, I haven't read your full case yet. So it's just like,
right.
It's just like you got no value.
You try a new like marketing software, but like it doesn't even, you can't connect your full 200,000 contact CRM database to it in a day.
That's true.
It doesn't work.
That's true. And so like there is some gaps in that, like the paid sample is like flawed. I would imagine though that like, okay, if you're a small business and you want to like file for your taxes, I would presume that like it wouldn't take an hour to just ingest all of your stuff.
Yeah, I think my take after this conversation now is that agentic commerce more broadly will be sort of built in a customized and like per service basis. And I don't think it's going to be like adopted in like a sweeping motion, but rather it'll like spike in particular verticals.
Yeah, the incentives are very
like
different.
One at a time, because the incentives are very different across a bunch of businesses. And I think also like so long as humans are being paid to do particular jobs, like they don't want to offload themselves because people want to feel important. Mm-hmm. They want to continue making decisions.
Yeah.
And I think that is kind of like the biggest like hump to get over.
So it's going to be a balance of like, okay, how important do you feel making this decision versus how trash is like the actual buying experience of like doing this.
Agreed.
And because I do think that like a lot of people who do need to make buying decisions are still like, oh, I will just like have the AI do research and then make recommendations for me. And that is already like widespread.
You would be surprised. I feel like that's just like not actually happening in the real world at all.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think
my like small town working class family, like they're like afraid of AI. They don't even use ChatGPT.
That makes sense.
And like one of them is like I suppose he's not very working class. Like he leads essentially sales for wholesale purchasing of automotive parts.
Okay.
For AutoZone. He worked at O'Reilly for like 35 years. Now he's at AutoZone.
Yeah.
That business is done over the phone. Hundreds of millions of dollars a year.
Makes sense.
And so it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the SF gang is like, even large businesses in SF are just like, hey, I research every fucking thing.
Yes,
but
which
like,
I think is dumb. Personally dumb.
So that's very like AI pilled, and this is like an extrapolation from that, presuming that is correct.
Right. And my take is that we are in the first half of the first inning when it comes to that realistically, from like a full like global economy POV.
I think it's only really early until someone is like making a lot of money because they provide like accounting over API. And then suddenly everything's going to start running over, you know?
Completely.
Like,
it's the same with like AI coding.
Yeah.
Like it was really early when we only had GPT-3.
Yeah.
AI coding was terrible.
Yeah.
And then they released Claude Code as like the in-terminal sort of version. And then suddenly now, everybody's using AI generated code.
Exactly. Do you need to go?
Yeah, I
do. Okay.
At the end, it was like self-promo.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Oh my God, of course. I'd love to talk. I could talk about whatever. Next time, have me here and we can talk about like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Startup ideas. I do like that Greptile t-shirt though.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty